Actually, the project monitor in general can be very helpful for your organization to manage any kind of project. This could be a production order, could be a cutting ticket, a style purchase order, or even a sales order from the customer standpoint. Any of these entities can be considered as a project, and this new module in Aria, the time and action, can help you manage information and keep track of activities on such projects in a way that can help you keep control of those projects. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm trying to mute the noise in the background. Okay, so actually the key features for the time and action functionality are summarized in this slide. It has the ability to set up project categories and activities, and project categories actually are a way to group different activities by their nature and based on your business nature and your business needs. Examples are production related activities can be one group, sales related activities can be another group, ticketing and packaging, for example, can be a third group, and so on and so forth. The second key feature is the ability to create and track projects by sales or by production orders. So you can really create a project either from the production end or from the sales end, and you can have a project associated with a sales order, with a purchase order, or with a cutting ticket. Then we have the ability to use project templates, which is actually a feature that can help eliminate the manual work, or in other words, make your work flow much faster than doing the projects manually. So by creating project templates, you can benefit from the automatic function to generate projects, and this function will actually create the projects using the template that you set up automatically at the end of creating a cutting ticket or a sales order or a purchase order based on what you need. Then we have ability to have and use report templates, and the report templates here can be associated with a user profile. So in other words, each user can have their own report template, and thus they can see the information they need only. They don't get distracted with other information they don't need. So they set up this report template to show them only the information they would like to see. For example, one user, he's concerned to see the work in process from the vendor standpoint, from the production standpoint. Either there is a TOP samples received, there is a pre-production sample received. So he will choose the group of fields that he wants, and this will be the report template, as we'll discuss in details during the session. Next feature is ability to monitor the project from a single point. So from one place you are able to track your projects, either it's a project for a cutting ticket, for a sales order, or for a purchase order. You can, from one place, you can gather and see all the information related to the project, such as style information like cotton sold and so on, purchase order information, the vendor, the completion date, etc. All this information will be at your fingertip from one place, which is the project monitor tool, as we'll see, and you can navigate easily from the project monitor screen to any other screen to see the related information, either it's at the style level, at the PO level, or at the cutting ticket level. And finally, the project monitor has the feature to export to Excel. So the outcome or the output of the project monitor is actually have the capability to integrate with Microsoft Excel by simply extracting the data or the output report to Excel sheets. Thus, you can share it with other people, you can resort it, you can rearrange the information the way you want from Excel sheet. So now we'll start the presentation. We'll talk now about activities. And before we go to the Aria XP screen, I just want to give you an idea about what the activities are and how they can be useful for your business, and specifically for production tracking and project management. So activities are simply anything that you want to do on a specific project, and you want to keep track of dates, when it is started to be scheduled, when it is expected to be completed, and when it is actually completed. Examples of these activities from the production standpoint, for example, could be the pre-production samples, TOP production samples, or let us say fabric purchasing. All of these such things are considered as product activities, and these are set up in Aria within that module as activities, and you can keep track of each and every activity from start to end to make sure it's done on time. If there is any deviation in the dates or the completion date, you'll be able to know that, and furthermore you can get notifications and so on. The activities can be assigned to a user as well, so individual users can be responsible for each task or for each activity on a project, and thus they can keep track of the status of the activity, either it's done or it's in work or it's delayed. They can see all of this as well from the user activity list, so it combines all the activities related to that user in one place, so they can keep track of them in one screen without having to juggle between different screens. So anyone have any questions so far? Okay, I just unmuted the mic. I just wanted to make sure everyone is able to hear me well and can see the screen as well. So if everyone is okay, I'm gonna continue to the next slideshow. All right, so before we move on to the next topic, I'm gonna show you now within Aria XP screen the activity list and how to utilize or how to set up those and the main features in the activities. So this is actually added under master data under scheduling. So here I set up as an example an activity group or category called production activities or production projects. And in that example, it shows you each activity can be set up to this group. It could be pre-production samples, TOP, top of production samples, approval, ticketing, fabric requirement, and purchasing. So you name those activities that belong to this specific category, and you give it a task ID and a task name. You can assign it a responsible user, and you can furthermore choose another notify user who will be notified whenever there is a delay or there is something wrong on that activity, that it wasn't completed on time or it was delayed. So you can set up a notify user, which usually could be used as an escalate level for this task. So this is applied to any task you set up on this group of activities. And again, each task on or within this category or within this project category can be assigned to different users, and all of these tasks, as we'll see later on, can be associated to a project. Either it's a cutting ticket project, a purchase order, or a sales order project. So this is how you set up the activities, and this is the very first step in setting up your project templates. The second slide, the next slide that we have is talking about setting up project templates. And as I mentioned in the beginning briefly, project templates are really powerful tool to help you automate the project creation process. So if you decided to keep track of your projects, let us say on the cutting ticket level, so once a user create a cutting ticket, the system can be set up to use a template, a project template, and automatically the cutting ticket will use that template and generate the activities needed for that cutting ticket. So based on the template you create, the system later on can automatically create a project either for cutting ticket, for purchase order, or for sales orders, depending on what project type you would like to use. Templates, of course, is flexible and user-defined and can be decided based on your business activities and based on your business needs. So you can have templates for production type activities. You can have other template for sales-related activities, like if you want to keep track of the special packaging requirement, the special ticketing requirement from a customer standpoint. This could be one type of project templates for the sales order. If you want to keep track of TOP production samples, pre-production samples, fabric requirements, this could be another type of templates for production activities and so on. The system can have a default project template setup, and this default template can be used, as I mentioned, at the time of creating the actual transaction, either it's a purchase order, a cutting ticket, or a sales order, and the system can use this default template to generate the needed project. And finally, last feature on the project templates, that you can choose whether to generate the projects automatically or manually. So in other words, if you do not need to generate a project for each and every cutting ticket, you can choose the manual way, and then the system will let you decide which cutting ticket or which production order to generate a project for. So in other words, the two options are available: either automatically generate every and each cutting ticket or PO will have a project, or you manually select only the cutting tickets that you'd like to have a project for. So let me show you on the screen the main features of the project template. So here, when we go to template information, I prepared some test data here. So I created a project template. I called it cutting ticket project management. You can put notes on the project template, and these notes are free text notes. You can add to it at any time, and furthermore you can revise it at the time of creating the actual project. So here I put, let us say, TOP and pre-production samples are required, pre-ticketed by factory, must ship on time. This is just some notes you can enter here. Then when you go to the activities tab, you will be able to see the related activities for that project template. So here, keep in mind, we are designing or we are setting up a project template. So on that project template, always I need to use or to have pre-production samples, TOP samples, and ticketing. Those are the main three activities I would like to track on such type of projects. So once you set up these activities on the template, the system automatically can copy and paste or can create the projects actually based on these activities that you already predefined on the template level. The screen here is typically the same like the activity screen. So it have an category, it have an activity ID, activity name like ticketing, TOP samples, PP samples, etc. And you can set up a default user responsible for this category, and you can set up as well the predecessors functions or activities that must be done before this process, and this way the system or the workflow can be done in the same sequence. So if, let us say, that PP samples must be done before TOP sample, so I can set up this as a predecessors for the TOP samples and so on. Other than that, this screen is typically the same activity screen that we talked about in the beginning. So now we set up a project template, and by the way, you can set up as many as project templates as you want. Each project template can be used for certain purpose. It could be from production standpoint, you want to keep track of your production activity. It could be from the sales and the shipping standpoint, you can have another template, and so on. So you design the template based on the relevant activities for that type of projects. So let me move to the next slide. Now we'll move to creating projects functionality, which is actually again, as I mentioned in the key features, it could be generated automatically or manually based on your selection, which order or which cutting ticket you would like to have a project for, or the system can be set up automatically generating projects. So for each and every new cutting ticket or new purchase order, the system can create in the background, can create the related project. So these are the main three types of projects that you can deal with. You can actually create project for a sales order transaction, for a purchase order transaction, or for a cutting ticket. And of course, according to the template that you use, the system will create the related activities and associated with that type of project. The other main key features for projects that they can be tracked on multiple levels. So you can keep track of a project on the entire order level. You can track it on the style level, or furthermore, you can track it on the style, color, line level. So let me explain that a little bit. Let us say you have a production order with style 1 to 3. It's coming with 4 colors or 3 colors, black, blue, and white. If you do not want to keep track of each single color alone of that style, so you simply need to keep track of the project altogether on the high level or on the order level. So you just need to know how the project is doing regarding all the activities, no matter what the style or no matter what the color is. If we move or if we track the project on the style level, and let us take in that example, you have a project on a purchase order level. So you might have one purchase order with 3 different styles, and each style might have different colors. So in that case, if you choose to track the project on the style level, the system will create a single project for each style on that purchase order. And thus, all the activities related to that project will go down to the style level, and you will be able to see activities and track them on the style level, not only on the whole order level. Finally, the last and the most detailed level is to keep track of the project on the style, color, line level. And in that case, if you choose that level at the time of creating the project, then simply the system will keep track of each and every line on your production order, either it's a cutting ticket or a purchase order, by line level. So you can know for style 1 to 3, color black, when the pre-production sample are expected to be delivered, for example, or when the TOP production are delivered or expected to be delivered. So this way, if you choose that level, you will have a project tracking on each and every line under your production order, either again it's a PO or a cut ticket or a sales order. So now I'm gonna go to the Aria screen relevant to that topic. I'm gonna choose here as an example a cutting ticket project, which is from the manufacturing standpoint. So the project screen here will be relevant to the type of project that you choose. Either it's a manufacturing, which will be a cutting ticket or a purchase order, or if it will be a sales order project, then the type here will change accordingly. So let me choose one of the cutting ticket that I have. So here is what I was talking about. The project tracked by, you can choose by cutting ticket, by style, or by line level. So depending on the type of project, you can actually have control and you keep track of activities on that level. So if I choose by style, in that case you'll be able to create a project for each and every style on that production order. You can here use a template, and the template will automatically copy the activities related to that project. So let me reselect one of the cutting tickets that I already created. Alright, so this is, for example, a project created on a cutting ticket line level. So the system will keep track of the exact style, color, and size combination. So the project will be on the very detailed level of that line. If it's on the style level, then it will keep track of the activities based on the style. If it's on the entire order level, then all the activities will be kept track of on the entire production order, cutting ticket, or purchase order level. Let me unmute a little bit the microphone and see is there any questions, guys, so far on the features that we discussed up till now? Okay, so I'm gonna continue to the next topic, and we'll have the questions and answers at the end of the webinar then. Our next topic is using the user activity list. And user activity list is actually a tool that can help the user to see and manage all their activities in one place, no matter what the project is, no matter what the production order or the sales order related is. So if user A have multiple projects that he work on at the same moment, from the user activity list he can see all the activities related to this project and can keep track of what is the expected completion date. He can see the notes related to this activity. He can add additional notes and so on from one place without having to go to multiple screens or to go to a different screen. And the activity list can work actually based on the workflow. So if, let us say, a project that have 3 different activities, user A has to follow up on the first activity. When it is completed, it can move directly to user B, who is in charge of the next activity. So for instance, if the pre-production samples has to be done first and kept track of by user A, so user A has to complete it and then it go to the next activity, which is, let us say, TOP samples and so on. The user can be able to update and complete activities from the activity task list or from the user activity list, so he can actually go and see all the activities he has in one place, and he will be able to complete tasks on the fly from this screen. Also, one of the other feature is that the user can see the other users' activities based on the workflow. So he can see what other users have or what other activities expected to be finished by other users. So he can estimate when his activity or when his task are ready to start. And finally, it has ability to integrate with Microsoft Outlook to keep track of emails or to see emails and notifications directly from within Microsoft Outlook. So to show you this part on the screen, this is actually a general toolbar on the Aria toolbar icon. So it could be actually called from any screen, from the invoicing screen, sales order screen, cutting ticket. So any screen that the user have access to from the toolbar, he can go to the user activity list and he can manage all his or her activity list in one place. So let me pick up the same cutting ticket that I have. So here from the toolbar, if the user logged in, he click on user activity list icon, he would be able to see the workflow of all activities no matter what the project, no matter what the activity is. So he can see the project ID, he can see the activity name, he can see when it should start, when it should complete, the duration, and the current status of this activity. So this is actually a very powerful screen. So again, from one place the user can keep track of all the projects open, which could be a cutting ticket, a production order, a sales order, etc. You can see when they should start, what is the expected completion date, and what is the current status. He can furthermore click on that button and he can see the related or more details about this project, which happened to be in that case a cutting ticket. So you can go directly to the cutting ticket screen and see in details what was the styles, what was the colors ordered on this production order, what is the summary status, if there's any pieces received so far, if there's any cancellation. So from one screen, in other words, it takes him to the related transaction level. User can furthermore here can complete activities. So if let us say that cutting ticket number 40029 was currently in work and it's delivered for the, let us say, the pre-production samples activity, the user can complete this task or this activity directly from here, and the system will automatically mark it as complete. If you want to add any free text or free comments or notes, he can go to the notes section and he can enter activities detail. So this is just a free text notes that can be associated to that project, to that activity. So if any other user came in and look up this specific activity, he will be able to see the notes as well, and he can read what the other users wrote on that specific task. So now moving on to the next topic, setting up a report template. And now we are talking about the output side of the whole time and action functionality. So this is really very powerful tool that lets each user in the company set up their report template and thus see only the information that they would like to see. Maybe if you guys all are aware of Aria other reports, most of the reports are fixed, or you cannot change the columns or the information that show in the report. You can just choose the criteria and change from format A to B and something of that kind. Here in the report template functionality, we developed a way for the user that he can select the columns that he would like to see on the project monitor report. So each user can actually select the columns and the fields that they really are interested to see, and thus will be more focused. They don't see information that they don't need, and they can add as they go. They can add columns or fields to the report template as they go. So this is the key features of the report template. It allows the user to design their own report. They are powerful tools to view project information from one single point. They give the ability to collect activities and information from any field in the database. So really we open up the entire database for the user to be able to select which field and what information to show up on the report. And finally, each user or each group of user or department could set up and share their own template. So if the production team want to see the work in process report in a certain way, they can set up a template for production team, and it will have only the columns they need. If the salespeople would like to see another type of information, then they can set that up as a report template and share it with the related users or colleagues, so they can see the information in that manner. So now I'm going to show you this feature in Aria interface. This is actually done from within the scheduling new submenu or functionality, report template. And in the report template, you can select a report type, which usually will relate to the project type. So if you are working with projects that are involving cutting tickets, you will create a report template mainly for cutting tickets. If you are working with projects that relates to purchase order or sales order and so on, you will choose the right template type. So in the report template, I'm going to show you one sample I created for the presentation purpose. Any report template can allow you to collect information from different type of data source. So if you see here on the lower part of the screen, you can collect the report template information from database fields, from activities on the project, or from profiles. And let me, I'll explain a little bit about the profile functionality since it's not actually part of the scope of this webinar, but it's also one of the new features that we added in the new version of Aria. The idea of the profiles that you can create generically any information related to a customer, related to a style, or related to a vendor, and these fields or this piece of information can be updated on a cutting ticket level, on a purchase order level, or a sales order level. This could be used, for example, for information tracking, like ticketing required, yes or no, hangars required or no for that production orders. Does the customer require special packaging or special packing material? All of this information can be added as a profiling data, and it can be added to a cutting ticket or a purchase order. Of course, it can be in the beginning set up with the default values on the style level. So these are kind of examples of how the profile can be used, like styles on hangers, ticketing required, yes or no, special packaging requirement or special packaging materials, and so on. So now back to the report template. When you click on fields, you will be able to see and gather the columns or the report information from the entire database. So you can see here on the left hand side the entire database from the whole system, from the customer database, from the style database, from the cutting ticket lines. So usually you will be able to know the field name by looking at the table name and the field name next to it. And usually during, if you required some consulting one-on-one training, we can help you build the report template as needed. But the idea here that I want to emphasize on that you get a list of fields from the entire database, not only from the cutting ticket or the sales order, it's from everywhere in the system, from the customer master, from style master, purchase order, sales order, or cutting ticket. So you choose on the right hand side the columns that you would like to see on the report, and those will be the fields that will show up whenever you use that report template. And again, as I mentioned, different users can set up different templates based on the information that they would like to see. So now once we are done with this step, I'm gonna move now to the next topic, which is the final topic in that module, which is using the project monitor tool. And the project monitor is simply the output or the reporting tools that will let you see in one place the entire project information. So let me go to that option. I saved that here in my favorites. So project monitor functionality is really to collect all the information created on the project from sales order standpoint, from a cutting ticket standpoint, or from a purchase order standpoint. So depending again on the type of project that you designed in the beginning, you can choose the related project type, and thus all the information in the criteria in the report will be collecting data for that project type. As usual, like any other Aria reports, you can select by several different criteria like project completion date, by cutting ticket number or purchase order number, by style, by activity status, by the responsible users. All these are parameters that can let you define your criteria and collect the project report or the work in process report that you'd like to use. Finally, each user can have a report template associated with their criteria, and they can actually furthermore save that as a setting. So next time they open up the project monitor report, they can actually, the system can automatically use this as a predefined setting, and it retrieve the same template, the same criteria that they selected in the beginning. So let me select some examples here. Okay, I'm just gonna select few cutting tickets projects that I created. Of course, if you select by project completion date or by any other filter, the system will collect the data based on the criteria that you have. So now this is the output or the project monitor report, and it could be displayed on the screen as a preview, or it could be furthermore exported to Excel if you would like to, so you can export the outcome or the report results to Excel easily to either share it with someone else, resort the data, etc. So this, if you notice, these columns are collected based on the report template that I created. So the system just showed me the information that I need based on the report template. And here, furthermore, if you are in the preview mode, you can go directly to the style screen. You can go directly to the cutting ticket or the purchase order screen by simply clicking on the button next to it. So if, let us say, I want to see cutting ticket 400300 or 30, once you click on that, the system will take you directly to the related cutting ticket screen to be able to see further details about this cutting ticket. So you can see the other styles, you can see the header information, the summary, and so on. Same goes if you are interested to look up a style or a color, and from within the project monitor you want to go to see the style cut and sold or to see the availability of that style, so you can click the button next to the style, and this will open up the style master screen, and then you can, as usual, you can see the cut and sold, you can see the open to sell for this style and any other information related to this style. So as you can see, it's designed in a very flexible way that from one point it gives you access to the entire data across the system, either from the style standpoint, from the cut ticket standpoint, from the vendor standpoint, and so on. Here, if you see that notes, this is actually the notepad field that we added on the cutting ticket. So this is also can be maximized or can be opened and retrieved from the project monitor grid, so you can see the related text to each line, to each style, color, or cutting ticket. You can see also all the activities. So here I have the pre-production samples activity, I have the TOP samples activity that I created on the project. So also if you click on the button next to each activity, you will be able to see further details about that activity. So you can tell when it was estimated to start, when it was estimated to be completed, and what was the actual completion date. So from here, from that screen, as you can see, you can go directly to the detailed level of that activity, and you can furthermore complete any activity on the fly from this screen. So if, let us say, the PP samples for this cutting ticket for that style color is now complete, I can mark it as complete, and the system will automatically update the status and the actual completion date. So as you can see, the information will be refreshed directly on the fly on the grid. So any task or any activity that you would like to complete, you can use that feature, and that will let you see a real-time information on the project monitor grid. Last column is actually representing one of the profiles we set up on the style and the cutting ticket. So I called it, let's say, merchandise on hanger, yes or no. So from that field you can see whether the merchandise are required to be on hangers or no for that specific production order or for that specific cutting ticket. Finally, after you preview the report, you can export that to Excel by click of a button, as available also in other browse in Aria. So when you click export to Excel, you can export the columns header, the layout, and the color shades. The color shades here is actually can be also used to let you highlight or let the system highlight for you a specific cutting tickets that are past due or that are delayed. Like as you can see here, anything that is overdue or past due, the field will be in red, so you can be alerted or can bring your attention to the related cutting ticket that have any delay. Once you click export, the system will simply put the information into Excel sheet. And from here on you can save that Excel sheet to your local shared drive or to your local C drive or wherever, and you can share it with other people across the company if you want to send it to someone else, to the management, so you can have that Excel sheet easily shared with other people. So this is basically the main features for the time and action module, and we covered actually all the project monitor features, how to export the report to Excel, how to filter the report to get what you need. So let me now open up the discussion for questions and answers. Okay, so everyone, if anyone has any questions, please let me know.
Yes, can you explain the notify functionality that we saw on the project template screen?
Right. Actually, the notify functionality works based on the email address you set up. So if you set up in the activity section, if you set up a notify user and you put the email address, you can trigger or you can set up the events that the user will be notified based on. So let me go to that section. Okay, so here if you, within the activity, if you click notify and you choose a specific user and their email address, you have a group of events underneath. So you can choose to notify users on certain number of days before the start of the activity, before completion date, on start date, on complete date, on delay, every certain number of days, on completion delay, etc. So let me go to the edit mode just to show it to you. So here, if let us say I click new and I want to notify certain user in the company, which by the way, of course, has to be set up as a user in Aria System Manager. If you selected that and you have a valid email address for that user, so the system should be able to trigger notification alerts based on those events. So here I want to notify the user on start of this activity or on completion of the activity, or if it's delayed with 1 day or 2 days, etc. So these are the triggers that the events that triggers the notification to that specific user, and it's sent via the email.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're most welcome. All right. Anyone else have any questions? All right. So as I mentioned, actually part of the new functionalities available in the new version of Aria XP is the profiles, which also can be integrated with the project monitor functionality to let you set up any kind of user-defined information specific to a style, specific to a sales order, or specific to a customer, so you can populate this information on the cut ticket level, on the purchase order level, or the sales order level. And this profile information could simply be added to the report template, and thus you can see it on the web report or the project monitor report. All right, so if no one else have any questions, I'd like to thank everyone for attending and for your attention. And again, this feature is now available on the Aria XP SaaS, so any user who is already set up on SaaS, they should have access to this feature included within the regular package. All right. Thank you everyone again, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
All right. So